Hey, welcome back to Ontario Lakeside. Today I wanted to talk about building off-grid. I often get questions about how we found our property and the process we went through in building our cabin. So I thought today I would take a second to answer some of those questions, so stay tuned. The old real estate mantra of location, location, location is even more important when it comes to off-grid properties. You have a lot to think about when you're buying a place off-grid, including sun exposure, weather, neighbors, and zoning. Another incredibly important thing when assessing a property for an off-grid building is access. What kind of road do you have in? Are you going to have to build a bridge? What will the access be like in different seasons? An important part for us was neighbors. We didn't want anybody too close, which is often the case with people that want to be off-grid. But the people that were close, we wanted to be able to rely on. So we did a lot of preparation and thinking and talking to people in the area to get a feel for if this property would be a good fit for us. Without water, there is no life. So depending on where you are in the world and what kind of place you're looking at, water could be incredibly easy or incredibly difficult to come by. For us, rainwater was the perfect solution. It's simple and inexpensive to set up, and it provides more than enough water for our needs. Different water sources on your property can be used for different applications. For instance, if you have a creek, that may be suitable for watering your garden. Or if you have access to a well, that could be good drinking water. Or rainwater can be used after purification for drinking as well. Now when it comes to building, you have two choices. You can bring in materials from the outside, or you can build strictly with the materials on the site. The type of building material you choose will depend a lot on your skill level. Using material that you purchase from a lumberyard is going to be much easier to put together and design with than material that you gather on your property. Of course, depending on the type of property you have, you may have access to wood and stone, and those are great building materials and can make a quite beautiful cabin, but they also require a lot more time and effort. Another important point of choosing your off-grid place is access to power. Of course, there's solar almost everywhere, and hydroelectric from a water source can be very effective, as well as wind. For us, we chose solar. It's a stable, simple system that can be set up as long as you have access to the sunlight, and it really provides power throughout the year. Hydropower can be very effective, but of course you need a running stream with some kind of drop in height, and that can be seasonal depending on where you are. Wind power is also amazing, but it does require more infrastructure to get it up and running, and it can be less reliable than solar. Another important factor, depending on where you are, is heating and cooling. As long as you have enough property with available timber, you can easily heat your house throughout the winter season, but it does require quite a bit of effort. When you look at a property for an off-grid cabin, consider sun exposure. If you're in the northern hemisphere, southern exposure can contribute a lot of solar gain and warm that place up throughout the day. Of course, you can use fuels to heat your home as well, but that will require bringing in materials from off-grid. Another factor will be access to labor. Are you going to need someone to come and guide you through the process of building, or are you comfortable building on your own? A lot of these skills can be learned on YouTube. That's how I learned a lot of things, also from my relatives and friends. Another factor is how much labor are you going to need to help you build this place? Can you find enough people in your close family group? Or are you going to need to bring in and pay people? The more complex your building is, the more time and effort it's going to take to build it. A simple one-room cabin can be built by someone experienced in a week or two, while a big chateau could take months and months, even with an experienced crew. A big factor for us was where we were going to stay while we were building the cabin. So we built a small one-room bunkie that could house myself, my wife, and my two children while we built. Having this bunkie was a great benefit. If it was raining or cold, the kids could shelter, or we could take a break while we were working on the main structure. Of course, a big part of this is budgeting your time. How long do you have to build this? Is this a weekends only project? Or is this something you're going to take time to go and do all at once? In my experience, the amount of time it takes to build a structure is going to probably be double what you think. Part of the access problem for our property was bringing materials in. It requires loading onto a barge, crossing a lake, unloading the barge, moving the materials up a steep hill, finally to the building site. For you, it could involve other types of transportation, and that could add to the costs and the amount of time it takes to build. Most importantly, if you decide you want to build off-grid, go for it. It's a lot of work, but it's very rewarding, and the journey is part of the reward. So get out there, find your little piece of paradise. If you found this video useful, please hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, and give us a thumbs up. It seems silly, but those are the things that allow YouTube to know which videos to promote, and that really helps us out quite a bit. If you have any questions, I'd love to hear about them in the comments. I'd be happy to read them and respond if I can be helpful. And if you are planning a build of your own, we'd also love to hear about that in the comments too. Until next time, we'll see you later on Ontario Lakeside.